Hello friends, welcome back to more Cinderella Phenomenon. Ooh, I am loving this path. I can't wait to see what happens next. We have learned so much already, and I'm so hyped. So, let's get cracking. Chapter 5, To Protect. Ooh, yes, we're meeting Varg. I am so excited. I have my tea with me, so I'm hoping my tea gives me strength. A bit warm still, but we've got this. The man starts walking toward us slowly. Waltz moves to stand in front of me. Princess, stay close to me. Yeah, the tea's gonna help with doing Waltz's voice a lot. Good evening, Princess April. And a good evening to you, Peter Pan. Is that supposed to be an insult? The man drops into an elegant bow. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Varg. What do you want, Varg? How do you know who we are? I'd love to stay and chat, but I have more important things to do. The princess is coming with me. Varg takes one long stride toward us. He taps the cane he is holding onto the ground. A surge of light emanates from the cane, then flares out toward us. Princess, go back to the marchand. Hurry! Waltz darts toward Varg before I can stop him. Varg raises his cane and twists it in one sharp movement. The light abruptly changes direction and slams into Waltz's side, throwing him some distance away. Waltz! Before I can step away, Varg has lifted me into his arms. He grins at me almost wolfishly before darting away from Waltz. Yeah, it would make sense he's looking at me wolfishly, considering his curse. No! Princess! You know, now that I'm thinking about it, Waltz was really involved in, Fritz's path as well, so it only makes sense that Fritz would be involved in Waltz's path. I mean, maybe he's also involved in Waltz. I mean, I don't know. No judgment here. Let me go. No can do, Princess. I let you go and things will get messy. What do you want from me? Are you a... I cannot even say the word. My blood runs cold as I consider the situation. Are you a witch? Okay, I thought she was going to say something a lot worse than that just now, but, okay. That I am not. And you expect me to believe you? You just used magic back there. I guess I did. Let me go. I squirm in his arms, attempting to kick and push him away from me. Varg abruptly stops with a grunt to let me down. One of my favorite parts about Karma's path was that the princess learned how to fight. Like, I wish that she did that more in more of these. I mean, not that a woman has to fight to be a strong character, but at the same time, a little something I liked about it. Yes, I read this one already. This is my chance. I start to bolt away from him, but he quickly grabs my wrist and pulls me back. Not so fast. Get your hands off me. I'm not here to hurt you, Princess. After what you did to Waltz? He leans in toward me until he can look me in the eyes. Well, he was in the way. Besides, it's not like I killed him. Varg begins walking again, this time pulling me with him. I try to break away from his iron grip but fail. Where are you taking me? Back to where you truly belong. If there's one thing I've learned from the fairy tales, it's that a princess belongs in a palace. I am unable to stop the gasp that leaves my lips. He stops and turns to me. You've been away from home for far too long, Princess. Don't you want to go back? I do want to go home, but I'm not welcome there anymore, at least not while I am still cursed. Release her! Varg releases me just in time to block a sword strike that comes out of the darkness of the trees. Is it Karma? Karma! Yeah! Tss. How annoying. I could say the same thing about you. I back away as the two trade blows. Varg uses his cane to defend himself against the man that just emerged from the trees. That man, he's the one who was with Waltz. The man with the sword that helped save me from the bandits all those months ago. Is that the option I chose that time? Was that like the turn left or right thing? I don't even remember anymore, guys. There is something graceful in the way the man moves as he swings his sword at Varg. He almost looks like he is dancing. The stranger continues swiping the sword, eventually gaining enough leverage to force Varg back. He moves so quickly that it takes all of Varg's reflexes simply to block his slashes. They're fast. Varg takes a few steps back and keeps a safe distance from the stranger. Impressive. The man gives Varg a lopsided smile as he points his sword at him, the two of them temporarily frozen as they each wait for the other to move first. You're not too bad yourself. Wait, is that... Now that he has stopped and I have a better look at him, I can see that the stranger's features are uncannily similar to Karma's. Karma? But is it really him? Yes, it is. Princess, are you okay? I turn my head to see Waltz and Delora rushing toward me. How did you find me? Delora used her magic to track you down. Thankfully, no other witches beat us here. Waltz halts in front of me, while Delora advances toward the two men. So, what do we have here? Delora, right? Can't say that it's a pleasure to meet you. Oh my god, I'm just now realizing that I think I gave them two similar voices. I have to compliment you all. You did an impressive job hiding the princess from us. It took us a while to finally track her down. Finding your so-called tavern was difficult, you know, but I got lucky. How does he know about the tavern? Because Fritz knows about the tavern. No sooner are the words out of Varg's mouth that the swordsman is suddenly upon him again, posed to attack. Varg blocks his sword a second too late and is forced to back away, clutching his now bloody arm. You talk too much. Sorry, I shouldn't have forgotten my manners in front of royalty. I'm learning this already? Varg's gaze turns to Delora, a smirk somehow still on his face despite his injury. You have quite an interesting bunch with you, witch. How about joining us instead? We could always use more witches like yourself. Oh, she would never. She would never. Thanks, but no thanks. Too bad. Varg turns to look at me. He holds out a hand and gestures me toward him. Come with me, princess. You know you don't belong here. Don't do it! Don't be a dummy! I clench my hands into fists as I shake my head. Your mother wouldn't be very happy with your decision, princess, especially after all she's done to make sure you'll be a suitable heir. Mother? What are you talking about? Suitable heir? Very memory deprived. But Varg ignores me as he raises his cane. Sorry to leave the party so quickly, but I'll be back soon enough for you, princess. Next time, whether you like it or not, you'll be coming with me. I'm not done with you. Ha-ha! Magic! Delora throws her hands out, beginning to gather light in her palms, but Varg has already brought his cane down on the ground. Thick smoke envelops the area, making my eyes water. When the smoke clears, Varg is gone. Good job, Delora. You done good. Delora huffs in annoyance as she lowers her arms back down to her sides. To think that those witches are using a human to do their dirty work. What was that cane he was carrying? I look up at the stranger who has sheathed his sword and is walking toward where Waltz, Delora, and I are standing. He's not a stranger. Don't treat him like that. It's an enchanted item. That cane has been infused with a spell that allows Varg to use magic. Limited magic, but powerful enough to make him dangerous. Well, it is far easier for a human to explore the kingdom without anyone getting suspicious. The stranger stands close enough for me to get a proper look at his face. I can no longer deny the resemblance I saw earlier. Karma, is that really you? Ugh. You have good eyes, darling. So this is what Karma looks like as a man. Why does he need to disguise himself as a woman? Well, princess, isn't that a story? I opened my mouth to ask the question when I am interrupted by Waltz's hand on my shoulder. Are you hurt anywhere? I turn to Waltz and freeze when I notice the dried blood on his forehead. No, Waltz, are you okay? You're bleeding. I'll be fine. I step back and realize that Waltz is standing oddly, favoring one leg to the other. Oh no, poor boy. Varg must have badly hurt him. You shouldn't have come here, or we have to go back now. I feel like we have to go back now. Because that's what... Okay, I'm gonna use my technique. I feel like this is what's being implied. by the dialogue. We're gonna try it anyway. It might be wrong. It really might be wrong, guys. I frown as I study Waltz's wound. We have to go back to the Marchen now. You need to have your wounds checked.
This is nothing. I'm just glad you're not hurt.
Stop worrying about me. You're the one in need of medical attention. I cannot keep the edge from my voice as I speak. Waltz's expression falls. Oh no!
I'm sorry, Princess. I didn't mean to. Ugh.
Waltz's expression suddenly twists as he doubles over, his eyes glazed in pain. Waltz! No! Delora catches one of Waltz's arms, supporting him as she turns to address both Karma and I. We should return to the Marchen. Rumpel needs to see to Waltz's injuries. Rumpel? I'll explain everything once we're back. Oh, did I make a wrong choice? Oh, I did! I did! Delora calls for Rumpel as soon as we arrive at the Marchen. That was probably too soon in the character development for her to show caring. Dang it! When Rumpel enters the reception area, he is clearly distraught by Waltz's injuries. What happened? Heal first, explain later. I expect Rumpel to object and am surprised when he does nothing more than nod. Carefully, Rumpel leads Waltz back to his room so he can be treated. Delora looks in the direction Rumpel and Waltz have gone with a thoughtful look on her face. We're lucky that we have Rumpel here with us. Anise is good with herbs and small wounds, but Rumpel has experience with more serious injuries. Experience? What are you talking about? Remember his curse? Rumpel is not the only one who does not remember who he is. None of the townsfolk remember his name either. But what about those with the curse? Shouldn't they at least still be able to remember his name? Rumpel is an exception to the rule, as he is with many things. In his case, not a single person can remember his name. Funny thing is, they can still recognize him. He ran into someone who called him a doctor today. Even just hearing it brought a memory back. Aww. He's gotten one of the chapters of his journal back now. He's quite the proficient doctor. He collects his journal pages by retrieving memories from others that still remember him. What a strange curse. My eyes wander around the reception area and I notice that someone is missing. Where is Karma? Oh, don't worry about him. He's probably changing now. I do not understand why Karma is so secretive about his reasons for wearing a disguise. I'm about to ask Delora if she knows any of the specifics of Karma's curse when the door to the reception area is thrown open.
Princess!
I am surprised when Anise suddenly throws her arms around me. She pulls me into a tight hug.
I was so worried about you. Thank goodness you're safe.
She pulls away and begins to wipe at tears that have sprung to her eyes. Why are you crying?
Because I was worried about you, silly.
She was really so worried she'd cry. Why? I am intensely aware of the awkwardness of the situation. Thank you for worrying about me. I had thought the words might do something to ease her worry, but her sobbing only grows louder. Anise?
I'll get you something warm to drink.
I stare off after Anise before I turn to look at Delora worriedly. Did I say the wrong thing? Well, you did make the wrong choice earlier, Princess, so I don't know. Quite the opposite, actually. You made her very happy. I did? But she was crying. They're called tears of joy, Princess. I'd be overwhelmed too if you were suddenly nice to me. Miracles tend to bring people to tears. Delora, my sassy queen, I love you. I just said thank you. And that was a kindness in and of itself. No wonder she's so happy. I was being kind. And congratulations, Princess. I see that you've managed to complete your first good deed. My hand moves instinctively to my pendant. I clutch at the new piece that hangs there. I knew you could do it. Oh, Delora! Delora smiles warmly. For some reason, it makes me feel strangely proud. Parfait walks into the room, startling us both. It has been 2 weeks since I last saw her. Her face is ashen. Parfait. You know that continuously using your magic takes a toll on your body.
I have no choice. The witches.
Her voice trails off as her eyes meet Delora's. Parfait and Delora look at each other solemnly. The tension in the room mounts as they continue to stare at each other without uttering a word. Eventually, Parfait's eyes wander to me.
Keeping her in the dark won't make this situation any better, Delora.
Parfait moves toward me, but her knees buckle. Before I can react, Delora is already at her side, supporting her. Parfait, you need to rest. I'll take care of this.
No, she needs to hear this from both of us.
What is going on?
We wanted to tell you about this later, but we can no longer afford to wait.
Delora helps Parfait to a chair. I tentatively take a seat opposite the two of them. Oh my.
We're gonna tell you the whole truth of this situation.
My God, already, it's only chapter 5. The whole truth. Delora sighs before she eventually speaks. Do you know why I cursed you, Princess? Some twisted sense of mischief? That's not the whole reason. We needed you to change your ways, Princess, to change how you see the world. If we didn't do something, you were going to end up as merciless and cold-hearted as your mother. What are you talking about? My eyes go to Parfait, but she doesn't meet my gaze.
Hildir, your mother, was not always so cruel.
Parfait's eyes look wet, as if she's about to cry. Why are you speaking as if you knew her? Princess, don't be a dummy. You know why.
She was my friend. Long before she was the queen, Hildir was like a sister to me. But she changed when the witch hunt started.
What does the witch hunt have to do with Mother? Parfait does not meet my eyes, but Delora is looking right at me. Your mother was a witch, April. The most powerful of the witches, in fact. Hildir was the Tenebrarum bearer. My heart drops into the pit of my stomach. No, that is impossible. I have never saw her use magic. She cannot be a witch. Some of the words in this are a little odd. Is it translated from Japanese or something? I'm not sure. I thought it was made in English. That's what she wanted you to believe. You cannot keep something like that a secret. If you try hard enough, you can keep anything a secret, even from your own family. But how? Delora pauses for a long moment before she speaks. It's the memory issues, right? She erased your memories, April. Exactly. The air leaves my lungs as I struggle to remain calm. Waltz said that Mother ordered my memories to be erased, but are they saying that it was Mother herself who erased my memories? Jagged pieces of memory and thought began to snap together in my mind. She needed you obedient and compliant. Whenever you acted out, she took that memory of disobedience from you. And it didn't take long at all to mold you into her perfect and unquestioning little doll. Ooh, what an interesting, parallel between me and my dolls and my mom and me. That is very, very interesting. I grip my dress without realizing. My hands are shaking. Then I did know Waltz. Mother really did erase my memories of him. How much of my childhood did I lose?
Hildir cherished humans before. She was kind and selfless. She was devoted to maintaining the balance between the Lucius and the Tenebrarum. But Hans...
Delora moves to place a gentle hand on Parfait's shoulder. It's not your fault. Hans?
I trusted him too much. He swore that they would only be stories. Small fantasies to share with his children.
Oh, the fairy tales!
Hildir wanted to turn him away, but I disagreed. I allowed Hans to weave his tales about witches and fairies.
The fairy tales! Oh no! Delora nods. Hans' fairy tales became hugely popular. And in practically every single one of his stories, it was a witch who was bad and a fairy who was good. To add insult to injury, it was well known that Hans had been welcomed by the Lucius bearer, but not by the Tenebrarum bearer. He held a grudge. The humans took that information and their imaginations ran wild.
Hildir and I went to Hans to beg him to tell the truth, but it was too late. No matter what Hans said, everyone believed that he was being threatened by the witches. I don't think he ever meant for things to get so out of hand either. When the king at the time, your grandfather, also voiced his negative opinion on witches, he only added fuel to the fire. It was as if he was giving humans permission to carry on with their witch genocide.
And we could do nothing to defend ourselves. We were bound by our oath to never hurt a living soul. The witch hunt lasted for years. Many of us were slaughtered.
All witches are bound to the Tenebrarum bearer through the Tenebrarum itself. Hildir felt each of the deaths like it was her own. It drove her mad. And she broke our oath. She killed the king, your grandfather.
Mother killed my grandfather. As Hildir's power kept growing, more and more good witches were corrupted through her influence on the Tenebrarum.
I tried to stop her, but she was already lost to reason.
Hildir wanted to take on GL for the witches. She wanted to take revenge on the humans for what they had done to all of us. And since your father was next in line, Hildir forced Gennaro to marry her so she would have a legitimate claim to the throne. And she did it, even though she knew he loved another woman. Aww. The very woman who sits on the throne today.
Ophelia.
Delora nods. The king has always loved Ophelia. Hildir created the fairy tale curse to punish the humans. She wanted to fuel the Tenebrarum with their hatred and anger.
Parfai's voice becomes very soft. The balance between light and dark was lost. While Hildir lived, Angiel was a place of grief.
I can feel an impending headache coming. But even if what you're saying is true, Mother is dead. She's been dead for 4 years.
She is. But for some reason, the witches are becoming more active. Garland and Jurian's patrols have confirmed this.
Patrols? Is that why they disappear at night?
I had to cast a glamour on you so that other witches would be unable to recognize you as the princess. But it seems like they've already seen through your glamour.
They're looking for you, princess. The witches are looking for you. Oh my god.
What? Why? The Tenebrarum needs a bearer. A witch needs to take on that role and regulate the balance between the Lucius and the Tenebrarum. For the past few years, it's been in a state of hibernation.
This is Delora. Sorry. For the past few years, it's been in a state of hibernation. We believe Hildir infused her life into the Tenebrarum to keep it stable. But now, the Tenebrarum is beginning to wake again.
We believe that's why so many people are being cursed lately. The witches are preparing for their new bearer.
Delora turns to me with an expression I cannot quite read. They only have to wait until you turn 18. Ugh! The air in the room seems to disappear all at once.
Princess, on your 18th birthday, your curse will break regardless of whether you complete your 3 good deeds. And you will become the Tenebrarum bearer.
Oh my goodness.
You will inherit that title and that power from your mother.
How am I going to react this time? Impossible. Oh, that's how I'm going to react this time. My heart is racing and I feel faint. Even if Mother was a witch, I can't use magic at all. All halflings like you inherit their magic at 18. No, I am human. Oh, halfling.
Princess. Delora's expression is grim as she speaks.
We've been watching over you for a long time, April. We know what sort of influence your mother had on you. The curse was a test. We needed to know that you wouldn't return Angiel to what it was when your mother was queen.
We can't allow another great war to tear Angiel apart. Delora and I believe that there is still goodness left in you. You just needed a wake-up call. Thus the curse and 3 good deeds. We wanted you to see what you hadn't in years, to be exposed to the true reality of things. And above all, we needed to see that you were capable of 3 good deeds.
I attempt to grasp the fleeting thoughts in my mind, but to no avail. I feel numb.
That's it.
No more secrets. Parfai's voice is gentle when she speaks to me.
The future of this kingdom is in your hands.
Will you follow your mother's footsteps? Or will you achieve the same balance that we had before? Oh no. Well, I mean, at least I'm learning it now. I can't believe I made such a poor decision earlier. I feel so unhappy with that now. That I didn't do the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. No matter how much I try, I am unable to sleep after my talk with Delora and Parfait. Mother was a wicked witch, and I am the next bearer of the Tenebrarum. It all makes sense now. So many people hated me because they thought I would be just like Mother. I feel the weight of that truth crash down on me, and it is suffocating. What am I supposed to do now? I turn to my side and bring my knees to my chest. How do I know what the truth is anymore? Suddenly, an idea occurs to me. There is one other person who might know the truth. Waltz. I wonder how he's doing. I slip out of my room and make my way toward Waltz's. Okay. Oh, look, he's got like a map and another, like a poster. Waltz is sound asleep when I push the door to his room open. He looks so small on the bed. I pause to look at the hefty amount of herbs lying on the table. Those herbs. I remember Anise once told me that they help with pain. Rumpel and Anise have given Waltz a lot of them. Oh, poor boy. Thoughts about the truth of my mother retreat to the back of my mind as I remember the encounter with Varg. Oh no. Waltz would never have gotten hurt if it wasn't for me. My eyes begin to sting. Okay, I don't know what the right choice is here either. Gosh, I feel like I'm doing very poorly this chapter. I'm gonna let it go. I'm just gonna do it. Guys, I don't know what oh man, I feel off today. Normally I feel like I kind of know, like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna pick cry. For the first time in years, I let my tears flow freely. Even if this is the wrong choice, I want to give the princess a moment to be emotional. Let her break through the ice princess facade for a minute. I let my tears flow freely. I do not even know why I am crying, and I find myself talking aloud. You said that crying doesn't make a person weak, but it certainly makes me feel that way.
You're not weak, princess.
Oh, hello. Are you okay? Waltz, when did he wake up?
You're the strongest person I know.
Waltz's voice is soft, and his words are slurred. He's clearly still under the influence of the medication he's been given, but he still continues to speak.
Despite everything you've gone through, you're still standing on your own 2 feet.
I cannot lie anymore. I have only been pretending to be a strong person. I cannot do this anymore, knowing that all this time I have been living a life full of lies. I'm questioning even my mother's affection now. Another dangerously gloomy thought hangs at the brink of my mind. If Mother did not care about me, that means no one did at all.
I do.
Oh, look, I did the right thing.
I care about you, April.
Waltz's voice begins to grow weak as his eyes flutter closed. You're tired, Waltz. You should sleep.
April.
His voice is slurred and slow, but hearing him say my name without the title somehow feels nostalgic.
Please don't cry, little star.
Waltz closes his eyes, finally surrendering to sleep. I take a deep breath and leave his room, closing the door quietly behind me. Oh, here's another memory.
Again. Okay. Abracadabra.
Aww. Oh, that's why my favorite flower is lilies.
Teach me how to do it too. A magician never reveals his secret, little star.
You always say that.
Please.
Please.
Just this one.
Please, Waltz.
On your birthday, I'll teach you how to do it on your birthday. Promise? Promise. Oh, it's so sweet. I wake slowly, the dream somehow still clear in my mind. A dream about Waltz? Was that a memory? I shake my head before I glance at the clock, stopping to stare at the time. How is it already this late? Oh,
Princess?
oh, is he okay? Waltz? Is he feeling better? The door opens and Waltz walks inside with a tray of food. He sets it down by my bedside as I stare at him in shock.
You're finally awake.
Waltz, you are supposed to be in bed.
I'm only injured, not an invalid, Princess.
But
I'm fine, Princess. It's not like you to worry so much.
I respond to his smile with an exasperated sigh. He will never heal properly if he does not stay in bed.
Here, I wanted to give this to you yesterday.
Waltz reaches behind his back and pulls out a neatly wrapped box. It looks as if he pulled it out of thin air. Another magic trick? He hands me the wrapped box. What's this?
You'll need to open it to find out.
Oh, it's the doll! This is...
You've been wanting this, haven't you?
I stare down at the doll he brought for me. It is the same one that caught my eye at the shop. The reason we went to the toy shop was so that you could buy this for me?
Yep. I'm glad it didn't get damaged last night.
My chest tightens with emotion. These dolls are expensive. Waltz would have needed more than just his usual show tips to buy this. Why would you buy this for me?
I figured you might want the extra company. Plus, you've always loved dolls, so I thought this one might cheer you up.
I stare at the doll as I cradle her in my hands, my heart feeling full in my chest. Thank you. I have never gotten an unexpected gift like this before. Waltz clears his throat, and when I look up at him, I notice that his expression is somehow sad.
Lady Parfait told me that she and Delora told you the whole story yesterday. I have to apologize to you.
For what?
The reason why they didn't just tell you earlier was because I asked that they keep it a secret.
Oh, why? I look down at the doll, my mouth suddenly dry. Me too. Why?
Because I wanted you to enjoy having a normal life, even if it was just for a short time. Knowing the truth limits your freedom. I didn't want you to feel that pressure so soon. But I can see now that it was selfish of me to deprive you of the truth. I'm sorry.
Clutch tighter at the doll, unable to look up at Waltz. Why would you be so kind without expecting anything in return?
Kindness doesn't always need to be paid back.
When you do something for someone, they will always expect the favor to be returned. That is what Mother taught me. From what I have experienced, no one is ever kind without expecting something in return.
I don't expect anything from you in return, Princess.
But how can I know for certain that you are speaking the truth?
Well, you can't. No matter what someone's true intentions are, their actions are always up for a different interpretation. So it'll be up to you to judge their actions. Only you can decide whether or not to believe me.
I pull my knees to my chest, curling up around the doll. I still do not understand how you can be kind to me. You told me yourself that it was the Tenebrarum bearer that cursed you. That means my mother. Well, but you're not your mom.
Your mother was the witch that took away my magic and sealed it in Neverland. But that doesn't mean it is your fault that I am cursed. You are more than just Hildir's daughter, Princess.
Oh.
You are your own person, and I know for a fact that you are capable of more goodness than Hildir ever was.
Waltz gestures toward my necklace.
You're only 2 good deeds away from breaking your curse.
I would not have accomplished the first one without your help. In fact, I have done nothing to help you break your... My voice trails off as my thoughts begin to come together. Waltz, to break your curse, you need to find Tinkerbell and Neverland, right?
What do they look like? Woo!
Neverland is a gold box with carving of wings on the top, and Tinkerbell is the matching key.
I sit up abruptly. We have to go to the palace. Walt stares at me, his expression clearly perplexed.
What? Why?
Because I know where to find Tinkerbell in Neverland. Yes! Oh, and look at his portrait. It's so interesting that he looks so dark and mysterious in his portrait. Waltz's description of Neverland and Tinkerbell was enough to jog my memory. Ooh, this is gonna be a long one, isn't it? A long time ago, Mother gave me a box and key that matched Waltz's earlier description perfectly. She gave me strict instructions to hide them in my room and to never let anyone else have them. I never questioned Mother's orders and kept both the box and key tucked in one of my drawers. I'd forgotten I even had those things until Waltz mentioned them. The minute I remembered, I sent a letter to Rod requesting he help us get into the palace. I knew our strained relationship would make it hard for him to trust me, so I emphasized the importance of the item we needed to obtain. A week later, he finally came through. Now we are just outside the palace, waiting for him. Jurian and Garland are here to protect us in case the need arises. Oh, I am excited, but now that I'm saying that I'm excited, I'm nervous. I'm excited and nervous. I'm nurse-sighted. I'm, exervis. I glance at Waltz, who is standing beside me, fidgeting. He has been coming against me coming with him ever since he found out my plans. He cannot stop me. I refuse to be left behind.
You still won't change your mind about this, Princess? You know the situation with the witches. It's not safe for you to be here.
It's not safe for me anywhere outside the Marchen, and you know that. Besides, how do you plan on finding Neverland and Tinkerbell without me? I'm the only one who knows where they are. We could tell him.
Like I said,
There we go.
if you would just tell me where they are, I can go on my own. There's no need for you to put yourself in this much danger.
I am going, and you can't stop me, Waltz.
Princess,
This is dumb, Princess. You're gonna get yourself hurt. I turn to face him fully. This is my choice, Waltz. I want to do this. For a moment, there is silence between us as Waltz studies my expression. He eventually sighs and shakes his head.
I should know by now there's no changing your mind when you've determined to do something. Just promise to stay close to me, okay?
I nod absently as I feel around in my pocket for a small object. A vial that Parfait gave to me before Waltz and I left for the palace. She said that it should help us when the need arises. It is a shame that neither Parfait nor Delora could be here due to their urgent meeting with the fairies. Jurian and Garland finally arrive with Rod. Ready? I can only nod in reply. Hopefully nothing will go wrong. Okay. We make our way through a secret passageway. I've heard of this secret passageway from the king before, but this is the first time I've ever been here. They say that this was built as an escape route should the need to evacuate the royal family arise. Only the commander of the Order of Caldera and the king know about this place. Rod, how do you even know this place? How did you get a key? I thought that only the king and Sir Alcastre had copies.
It was Lady Parfait who showed me this place and gave me the key. I can't leave the palace unattended on normal circumstances, so she suggested I go through here whenever I needed to get to the Marchen.
Then how is she able to get a copy of the key? Waltz.
You should ask her that yourself.
Waltz, did you do it?
Anyway, you haven't even told me what you needed from your room.
It is an item that will break Waltz's curse. Okay, here we go.
I see.
Why did it take you so long to respond to my letter?
The palace has been on high alert since last week.
Why? Rod stops and looks at me. The hesitation is clear in his eyes.
Did something happen?
A week ago, the king received a letter. A warning.
A letter?
It said that 3 days from now the king will be judged and convicted. His crown will be given to one more worthy.
I stare at Rod with slow understanding. 3 days from now, but that date...
Your 18th birthday.
I continue to stare at Rod in disbelief. This cannot be a coincidence. A new king? Do you think someone is specifically targeting my father? We all know that royals are always in danger.
But this threat has made the king especially nervous.
Are the witches involved in this? The silence that falls within the tunnels is heavy.
They think there is a good chance they must be. That's why the Order of Caldera has tightened security.
We continue walking in silence. Eventually, Rod points at something ahead of us.
Here we are.
The dim light of the tunnel illuminates a rusted door that leads into the palace. Rod looks around warily while Waltz and I quickly duck into the shadows of a column.
The guards will be doing their rounds on this side soon. We need to hurry.
Right. The hallways are thankfully quiet as we traverse them. Rod did a good job of scoping out the times of patrol. Eventually, we reach my room. I stop at the door to my room, suddenly overwhelmed by nostalgia. It has been so long since I have been in my room. Is this Emmeline's room now?
No. By the king's order, your room has been untouched since you were cursed.
Then, what has become of this room? I look at Rod in shock as he studies the door to my room with a complicated expression on his face.
I think maids are sent in here to dust occasionally, but otherwise everything should be just as it was before.
But why would the king keep the room as it is if he does not remember me? I turn back to the door thoughtfully, then glance at Rod. We can handle the rest. You should leave before you draw any unwanted attention. I do not want to get you in trouble. Don't worry. We will figure out a way to get back to that passage without alerting anyone. What?
You've changed.
What do you mean by that?
You never would have cared about someone else's safety before.
Rod turns to leave before I can respond.
Be careful.
Thank you. Aw, well at least we can be friends maybe after all of this. Fingers crossed anyway. Garland and I will stand outside. Make it quick. I nod at Jurian before turning back to the door and turning the knob. I glance at Waltz and he nods at me. I take a deep breath and open the door. Rod told me that my room had been untouched since I left, but I was not expecting it to be like this. Nothing has changed. Not a thing out of place. There's not even a speck of dust on the dolls on my shelves.
April?
I am confused as to why this room has been untouched. Certainly the king would have thought to do something else with it. Or in the very least, he would not have maids coming in consistently to clean it. But I cannot let myself linger on the questions. I have no time for them. It's because he loves you, princess. Deep down, he loves you. Admit it. We came here to find Neverland and Tinkerbell. I look at Waltz and nod. Let us start searching. Time passes, but I'm only able to find the key. The box is nowhere to be found, not even in the drawer that I remembered putting it in.
To think that you had Neverland and Tinkerbell this whole time.
Have you tried searching for it in my room before?
I have, but I didn't find anything. She must have used a glamour magic to hide it from me.
I stare at the key with frustration. Well, I have the key now, so that's good. I don't understand. I am sure it was here.
Are you sure you didn't throw it away?
No, I would never throw away such a beautiful box. Besides, I keep most of my things. They are all valuable to me, even if they are not outwardly beautiful.
I wouldn't have believed you if I hadn't seen this.
He leans down to pluck a puppet from one of my drawers. He holds it up with a smile and I feel my cheeks heat in embarrassment. It's one of ours from when we were kids, isn't it? I just never remembered to throw that out. Waltz gazes at me thoughtfully. You're lying. You're a liar.
That's the only reason?
Well, I look at the puppet in his hands and find the truth spilling out of me. I was never able to put my finger on why, but I've always liked that puppet. A smile stretches across Waltz's face.
You kept it, even though I did such a bad job with the sewing.
What? You made this? Of course he did.
Yeah, this is the first puppet I ever made.
Waltz turns the puppet in his hands, looking down on it fondly before his eyes meet mine.
You were the one who taught me how to sew in the first place, you know.
What? I was the one who taught him how to sew. I stare at the puppet. I probably kept it because you made it.
How cruel.
Huh?
Do you have any idea what you're doing to my poor heart?
You seem perfectly fine to me. Waltz shakes his head and sighs. Waltz?
So dense.
He's in love with me. He's in love with you, princess. Doing to your poor heart. Oh my god, what? That's kind of smooth, I will say. What? The knot begins to turn. Waltz and I exchange glances before we both dart to different hiding places. I hide myself under the bed and he runs behind the curtains, which more easily conceal his smaller body. King Gennaro! The king, what is he doing here? When the king steps inside, I notice that there is something in his hands. The box! We found the box! Why did he take it? That's the box, but why does he have it? Exactly, princess, I got to know. I look at Waltz and he gives me a small nod, affirming that it is indeed Neverland. Who's there? Show yourself now if you don't want to get hurt. The king unsheathes his sword. What should we do? I look at Waltz, who signals to me to stay in place. He mouths something, and I think he might be saying that he means to find a way to get us out. Is Waltz going to sacrifice himself again? Will he be all right? Should I trust him? Oh, man. I'm gonna... Yet again, I don't feel like it's telling you what to do, but I feel like in terms of the romance, I ought to trust him. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna stay. I nod at Waltz. He steps out of the curtains and raises his hands in surrender.
Forgive me, your majesty.
Oh, I know you. You were Hildir's apprentice. Waltz, was it? I remember then that Waltz had worked for Mother, so naturally the king would know who he was.
It's been a while, your majesty. I'm honored you still remember me.
Heck yeah! You haven't changed. Not at all. So Hildir really did curse you for betraying her. Betraying her? Betraying her how? I don't know this yet, do I? I'm so excited! The king places his sword back in his scabbard. I have no idea what you were doing here now, but... The king surprises us both by getting down on one knee and bowing to Waltz.
Your majesty, you shouldn't...
I was never able to thank you after the war. So thank you. You did so much for our kingdom, Waltz. So thank you. We owe you our lives. If only all witches were as good as you. Oh, the king stands once again, his posture stiff and straight.
There are more of us than you think, your majesty.
I am lost. What are they talking about? No, princess, put the pieces together. Come on, don't be dense.
But I didn't do it for the kingdom.
Waltz turns to look at me suddenly, a small smile on his face.
I did it for her.
And I made the right choice. I'm so happy. Waltz, you love me. You love me. You love me. Her? Who are you talking about? Waltz nods his head at me.
It's all right, April.
I slide out of my hiding place and stand in front of the king. It has been months since I last saw him. The king's eyes widen as he looks at me. You're that girl from the gates. You remember me. It is more like I find it impossible to forget you. What? I have a lot of questions for the two of you, but the most important is why you are both in this room. Regardless of the fact that I know you, Waltz, you have still broken into the palace. Exactly. We would not have done it if we did not have to. I steel myself for further scolding when the king turns to me. That box you were holding, we need it to break Waltz's curse.
How did you come to have it, your majesty?
The king looks down at the box, as if only noticing it for the first time. I was in this room the other day and noticed a chip on the side of the box. I took it to get it fixed. A chip? I did drop it once a while back, but did not think to get it fixed myself. Why would you do that? The king looks around the room, a faraway look in his eyes, because it's your room and he knows that he loves you. This room is special to me, though I do not know why. I feel like this room and I are both waiting for someone to return. And everything must be perfect for when they do. I feel my chest tighten even as the king huffs out a derisive laugh. What am I saying? He cannot miss me when he does not remember me. He can't, right? But if this box is all you require, Waltz, you may have it. It is the least I can do after all that you've done for us. The king holds out the box to Waltz, who reaches out to take it.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Look who we have here. Who is it? We all freeze at the sound of the new voice. I turn and find an all too familiar figure leaning against the doorway, a mischievous grin on his face. Varg! What a sweet little reunion. Varg. Oh no! Is this the end of the chapter? No! Oh man. Whoa! What a freaking cliffhanger! This is all about those cliffhangers, and what a long episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Oh my god, I'm so in it to win it with this path. I'm all about it. So far, I think it might be my favorite. We're learning so much information. We're doing the thing. Oh, I'm hype. I'm so hype. Well, hopefully I see you all next time. Feel free to follow me on the social media that I'm linking below. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye!